Lonely Monk Productions. I don't know if y'all have heard the new Finn Wolfhard album yet, but yo.
That's my Jawn!
Hey, yo, displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. You're tasting things that don't need to be What's measured. Good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to an all-new episode of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I am your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. Jimothy's big brother, Jonathy, a.k.a. Nate 3.0. Back at it again with yet another episode of the podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. On today's episode, I am joined by Chris Ballew of the Presidents of the United States of America, a.k.a. Caspar Babypants. Oh, yeah. You know, the Presidents were a formative band for me when I was growing up. They showed me that you could be silly and free as a musician without having to become like a parody actor or a comedian. You could just make fun music, and Chris makes fun music. We talk a bit about that, his pivot to children's music, and his new solo album, Newborn Human. All of that is coming up in a bit. But first, hey, what is good in the neighborhood? How's our summer been? Good? You guys hanging in out there? All right, I like to hear it. You know, I wanted to do a little something different this episode and just tell you guys about some of the cool shit that former guests of the podcast have been doing recently. I just kind of want to give some people their flowers. So let's see. The Tisberries, Roberta Faceplant, Ben Arnold, and Shug Daniels are all set to perform at the 63rd Annual Philadelphia Folk Fest. You know, I used to go to the fest with my mom when I was a youngin', and so it holds a very special place in my heart. It's just like an incredible setting to catch some of my favorite Philly acts. Speaking of favorite Philly acts, our pal Adam Weiner just released the latest Low Cut Connie album, Living in the USA. That album, absolutely stellar, may just be their best one yet. Both Eric Bazillion and my homie Nicole Atkins, they both have singles out. His track is called Better Times, and it was written and recorded for the WXPN Philly Anthems project. And then Nicole's is a gorgeous track called When the Night Falls from her upcoming album Drama, produced by Wilco's Pat Sansone and being released on Sun Records. How dope is that? Ken Marino and David Wayne have a hilarious new movie out now in the theaters called Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass, about a woman's quest to cash in her celebrity sex pass with Jon Hamm ahead of her wedding. Oh, yeah. Did I mention that it's a riff on The Wizard of Oz? It sure is. Definitely find a theater near you. Go check that out. Jack Houston is in Spider Noir with Nicolas freaking Cage. Spy Mob got back together, recorded and released new material. And of course, last but absolutely not least, Eliza Hardy-Jones called up her friends Eric Slick and Pat Finnerty, and they recorded, get this, a new Wawa Hoagie Fest song. In my eyes, that very well may be the coolest thing I have ever heard. And that's just a few of them. That's just some of the guests, man. Everybody out there, so many of our peoples are out there eating, and I absolutely love to see it. You know, I'm over here trying to eat too, and the best way you can help me do that is to follow us on the socials at Yo, That's My Jawn. You could always subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Substack and, give us a little rate and review on your podcast provider of choice. Oh, man, I would appreciate it, But if you're ever looking for any more details about the show or about me or any of the goings on, you can always check out www.yothat'smyjawn.com for updates, merch, links to old episodes of the show, guest appearances on other podcasts, and more. All right. Y'all ready for this? My guest today is a singer, songwriter, and musician best known as the lead singer and bassist of the band Presidents of the United States of America. You may also know him from his work as the children's artist Caspar Babypants. Just last Friday, he released his 11th solo album since 2021, entitled Newborn Human. Guys, that, my friends, is a lot of music. Folks, it is my honor to welcome to the show, Chris Ballew. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by the great Chris Ballew. Chris, thank you for joining me on Yo, That's My Jawn.
Oh, I'm just the regular Chris Ballew. Is there a great one that we need to get in here?
Oh, that was the one I booked. Damn, he didn't show up.
Yeah, you booked the wrong Chris Ballew. Oh
That's
man. Well,
great.
thanks for having me. I appreciate you. I appreciate being invited to be anywhere these days. So thank you.
Oh, that's great. I'm a big fan going back into my college years, and I always like to tell everybody a little connection piece I have with them or their art or whatnot. And with you, I for the very longest time I used to work at Sam Goody, and I got a promo hat of the President of the United States of America with a little with like little drawing faces, and it was
Oh
like a beanie. And I wore that thing for probably 25 years, and and it was
yeah.
like my favorite hat. And somehow in the move, I don't know where it is, and I'm like very upset about this.
Oh, is that the one where the little stick figures we each had our different underwear on? Was
I think
yeah.
so. Yeah,
And Jason's was on his head,
yeah,
and Dave's was a huge pair of boxers, and
that's
mine
right.
was little tighty whities. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, everybody knew me by that hat. That was like my Mike Nesmith hat.
That's so great. I have a hat. I have two hat stories like that. Back when I first was hanging out with Beck in LA and I was in his band and stuff, I had a purple beanie and I had put what do you call it, a patch on it that was a journey for, patch for the band Journey. But to me, it was like Journey, like the wider concept of life being a journey. And I love that hat. And then one day, yeah, I just looked for it and it was gone. And the other
Yeah.
one is the Babypants. Well, I've done that kids music as Caspar Babypants, and that's from a real hat that I found at a like free hippie co-op bin of winter clothes that were for the poor. And I was the poor at one point, and I went there and pulled out this pair of hand knitted baby's pants, put them on my head, and I was like, oh my god, perfect winter hat. And the kids in my neighborhood on the way to and from the subway in Boston, they started calling me Baby Pants. They're like, yo, Baby Pants, where you going? Oh, shit. So I kept it. But then, same thing, like time went by. It was summer and then it was fall and pretty soon it's winter. And I'm like, oh, I need my Baby Pants. And then I had no idea where they were. And it had been like 6 months since I last saw them. So, yeah.
It's wild.
It's
It's like
fun.
they come into our lives,
Yeah.
and then leave
Yeah.
magically.
It did spawn a song, "The Ballad of the Baby Pants," which is on a Caspar album. So anyway, got a song out of it.
That's great. I
Yeah.
always like to start these things in the Wayback Machine. Tell me a little bit about growing up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up across the lake from Seattle. I almost said Boston because I really grew up in Boston. I like emotionally as an adult or semi-adult. Yeah, no, I grew up in this little. There's three peninsulas on the other side of the 520 bridge on Lake Washington, and I grew up in the middle one. I think the middle one, yeah, Yarrow Point. And it was its own little town, and we had our own little Fourth of July parade, and our own little mayor and town hall. But it was just like this tiny little peninsula. So it had the feeling of a tiny town, but it was also part of the bigger picture of Seattle and Bellevue, which was not much to look at when I was growing up, but is now like LA Junior, like huge skyscrapers and shit. So yeah, I grew up playing outside until we couldn't see the ball anymore, that kind of thing, just beautiful, idyllic, long summer days. My mom had no idea where we were the entire day. And my best friends, me and my brother each had a best friend that lived right down the street. We were brothers, they were brothers. So it was just like this idyllic, really mellow, awesome childhood, like the one that everybody pines for now.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. What was music like around the house? Were you a musical family or?
Well, my dad played guitar, not a lot though. It was always kind of a big deal. And then he picked it up like, oh, Dad's playing. And then he had a recorder, like a wooden recorder, and he would, chop away at Bach inversions on the recorder. And then my mom was really into classical music, and she had season tickets to the Seattle Symphony, and with a friend of hers. And whenever that friend couldn't make it, I would be her date. And so I went to the symphony probably 2 or 3 times a year as a kid, and I loved it. Her seats were way up in the balcony, and I'd just let the sound wash over me, and I'd inevitably kind of fall asleep. And I always thought of falling asleep at a show as the highest compliment that you could pay to the performers, because they've made you feel so safe and so taken care of and so cuddled and held by their music that you are free to lose control and pass out. And then that spawns years later to this moment where I went to see Gang of Four in Boston in the like late 80s, and I fell asleep at that show too. So I was like,
I mean, the symphony I can understand. Gang of Four, that had to have been like, you had to have been tired.
well, no, I think it's because, and I used to fall asleep routinely when Nevermind, Nirvana's huge record, of course, came out. That would put me out. I'd put it.
Really?
Yeah. Something about super loud, harmonically rich distortion just makes me kind of, go limp.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. When did you start playing?
I started playing kind of right away. When I was maybe 2.5 or 3, I used to hit the piano with a hammer. I was very John Cage. I was very ahead of my time, experimental. So we had an upright, and I'm told, I don't really remember this, but I'm told that I would just bang on it and make the soundboard kind of reverberate. No involvement with the keys yet. And I got to be about 4 years old, and I started, figuring out how the keys fit together and all that. And then my mom started me with piano lessons when I was 4. I did piano lessons from 4 to 14, and there were sort of rumblings that I would be maybe a candidate to be a concert pianist, because they used to say he's got the ear, so I could hear how melodies should be represented emotionally, but I just had no patience for learning how to sight read sheet music, and I didn't really want to play classical. I wanted to play the theme from the TV show The Munsters. That was my. I don't know if that's before your time or whatever.
No,
but,
that's right in there.
Yeah, it's like dum 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 bam bam. I loved that. I spent hours trying to figure that theme song out. That was my very first learning by ear. But the real thing that happened then around 4 or 5 years old, I think, maybe 4, is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band came out, and I got it, not long after it came out. My older brother had given it to my parents for Christmas, and I ended up pulling it out and playing it as a 4-year-old, and it changed everything. It just introduced me to a whole world of fantastical, rule-shattering possibilities. Just made me travel. And that album, this is it's an old saw for a lot of musicians to say that that's, the album for them. But really, I started as a child. I didn't even know there were other Beatles albums. I didn't even know there were other bands until I was about 9, and I bought the Yellow Submarine soundtrack. I was like, oh, there's another Beatles album. Look at this.
That's wild. It's funny because those two, Sgt. Pepper and Yellow Submarine, I can definitely hear the influence of the whimsy of those albums, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, and so I can definitely see that it kind of left a mark. When did you pivot off piano onto a guitar or the bass guitar or the?
Well, that came later, but first my dad had this classical guitar that my sister had in the 60s as hers, and then in the 70s my dad took over this guitar, and then I kind of started taking that guitar over in the early 80s, like 80, 81. Or maybe even a little earlier, maybe late 70s. And that was the guitar I kind of figured out, oh, this sounds good. And it turns out that's an E chord. Oh, this sounds good. That's a G. But I didn't know the names or anything. I was just kind of figuring out what felt good together. And then maybe around 14 or 15, I got an electric guitar. And that was great. I ended up taking the low E string off, though, and not retuning it like Keith Richards did, but just playing an A bar chord. So, it was just easier to play an A bar chord than an E bar chord. And to this day, I can't play an E bar chord on a regular 6-string. I play this weird bar chord that's got an open B in it, and it's more based on a C than an E shape, and it's just weird. But I'm
It's
stuck
wild.
with it. Yeah.
It's amazing because like I taught myself how to play guitar, and there are so many like things that if someone sees me playing, they're like, "What are you doing there?" And I'm like, "Oh, I this is just how I know how to do it. I don't know what to like. It's
Yeah.
been 30 years now. I'm not going to change it." So
Yeah. My friend John Roderick talks about playing guitar that way too. Some people will. He's in a band called the Long Winters, a great band, and people will email him and be like, "How do you play this part of that song of yours?" He's just like, "I have no idea."
yeah,
You're
totally
on your
makes
own.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But so that the electric guitar led to starting a punk rock band with my friend Dale, and we covered Clash and Sex Pistols and tried to write our own songs, and then I kind of discovered like Wall of Voodoo and a Wingo Boingo and this kind of like surrealistic new wave, especially Wall of Voodoo. They really created a universe. And I kind of got into synthesizers at that point. So I kind of turned away from the guitar and got myself some big old honking, early 80s synths and hooked them up to a TR 808 and, started trying to be Wall of Voodoo basically. And instead, it was kind of like a wall of doo-doo.
Oh Jesus! Does any of them still exist?
Oh yeah. In fact, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but these days, the solo music I'm making, I'm actually going back and listening to some of that stuff, which is horribly recorded, embarrassingly sung. Like I sound like I'm trying to have a new romantic English accent, but there's little DNA bits in some of those old songs that are actually cool, and some intention is still intact or compelling. So I've been kind of scraping the DNA off those old recordings and making new songs out of them, which is super fun to kind of, number one, collaborating with my 16, 17-year-old self, and number two, confirming that I wasn't completely off.
Yeah. It's, I've talked to a bunch of people about this, but those early songs before like the rules or whatnot, there's magic in there and chances that like in my own songwriting that I find myself taking where I'm just like, I don't know why I ever thought that would work, but it did. And it's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's an innocence to it.
Yeah. And I just sort of, I wrote it off for so many years while I was doing The Presidents and Caspar and other things. But yeah, it's this kind of weird well of like unfiltered, raw experiments.
Yeah.
I found at a certain point that I'd lost the ability to be messy, and to be sloppy. And I kind of been trying to get that back into my process to allow the early stages of a song to just be like badly done, just to. Or not fully realized, just to have the experience of, getting it out, just pull something out and let it be sloppy.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
no, it's jumping ahead a bit, but I saw a quote about raising kids, helping you to kind of write the Caspar stuff because you would just make stuff on the fly. My wife and I just recently had a son, and that resonated so strongly with me because like the other day I was just sitting there and my wife came in the room and she was like, "Is that like a nursery rhyme or something?" I was like, "No, I was just making it up. Like it was just." It's just right here. It's where we're at, But it's that inspiration of just letting it go, just letting it out,
Yeah, a lot of it is the sort of acknowledgement of how like with congratulations, by the way, on the new
Oh,
child.
thank you.
But when you're hanging out with your new child, I have pictures of me with my guitar and my baby's on a blanket on the floor, and I've got a little like a Toshiba laptop from the 90s open with a little recording software going in there. And I would just sit and look at him and play what I felt when I looked at him. And a lot of those songs, those fragments ended up becoming Caspar Babypants songs. It was really not a thinky experience. It was just like a body feeling experience, and which in general has become sort of, I think, acknowledged that the pathway of consciousness is body first. Your body feels things and then your brain makes sense or catches up or joins the conversation. But I like where science is going with acknowledging that emotion and body, messaging is the place where intuition starts.
Yeah. Yeah, there's in the past like 10, 15 years, the ability to deal with emotions has been like, I think, one of the great changes of a society, especially, post pandemic, because talk about shared trauma,
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I had never thought about the value of shared trauma as far as the pandemic goes, but that's true. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel that way, believe it or not, I feel that way. I'm not going to get too into it, but I feel that way about Donald Trump. I feel like he is here to just like pour fuel on the evolutionary improvements of acknowledging goodness and good news and our, better angels or whatever you want to call it, because he's such a black hole that he's accidentally feeding the light,
Yeah.
by
Well,
being such a.
yeah, I'm really interested in what happens next because similarly, what I see this as is the complete test of the experiment that is the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And
Totally.
there are so many things that we just accepted as, well, no one's going to do that, and then he's done them all. And so now it's like, how do we rebuild, to make sure to put the guardrails in that we all thought were understood but weren't enforced,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's stress tested our system and it's about to break.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
man. That's an interesting way to look at it for sure. Yeah, which maybe thematically that dovetails into talking about the presidents.
Hey, there it is.
Look at
I
that.
like it.
Transitions.
Like it. I
Woo!
like it. Yeah.
We
So
don't
I
have.
remember. I was in college. I can remember exactly. I was in my buddy Bert's dorm the first time I heard "Lump," and it was like, I talk about this a lot, but I was a grunge guy, but like a reluctant grunge guy, like because I'm just a boisterously kind of happy person. So like. So like you guys and there were a few other bands like the early Weezer stuff was like a permission to like also still be goofy and a nerd but still rock. I owe a lot to you.
Oh, that's nice. I like to, even back in the day, I felt like we were kind of giving nerds permission to try to rock. That was what actually made the band work in the very early days for me was we were three nerds up there trying to rock. The important thing is trying because the audience, I think, I recognized early on, a little before I started the Presidents, I recognized how empathy, like having a band where some part is missing, or like I used to play a lot with my friend Phil in Boston and New York, and he played this broke down little drum kit, and I played this Sears kind of toy guitar, no bass player, but we were playing as if we were headlining Madison Square Garden, and it sort of turned me on to the idea that the audience's empathy is a huge part of why the connection gets made between the way I was performing and the way the audience experiences the music. So, yeah, for sure. And then, of course, we get signed, and then we're playing giant venues, and in some cases, European festivals for tens of thousands of people. And it's just, you just have to be a rock band at that point. It doesn't get over the barricade. It doesn't even get past the press barricade if you don't have your shit together.
For sure.
So we sort of lost that. But yes, that is a very astute observation. I'm glad that it helped you out.
The road is littered with acts who couldn't make that happen. They get the call up and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, we fortunately recognized, okay, we have to be. I mean, we thought about this in the very beginning too. We were like, if we're gonna be these dorks up there trying to rock and playing these silly songs, we better be good. We better be like tight, actually able to play. Otherwise, it's like a machine with one leg. It's gonna just fall over. Or whatever. That's maybe not the right analogy, but you know what I'm saying.
So, real quick on the nerd thing, late '90s, I thought there would have been an awesome like Lollapalooza type tour fest that was just all nerd bands, and I had this dream lineup of 3 bands. Right, it was you guys, it was They Might Be Giants, and it was Nerf Herder. And now the weird thing about this, and the reason I mention this, is because the Johns obviously made a kids album, as you have made a kids album, as Perry has made a career making kids music. And all 3 of you have done TV theme songs. So,
Wow.
right?
That's a great criteria right there.
It's weird. So,
Boy,
like,
you talk about permission, like getting the feeling of getting permission to be yourself from an album. That first They Might Be Giants record, I was in college. I went all the way down to New York City to get the record, brought it back, we put it on, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm not alone. It was such a great feeling. I loved it.
So like the President's thing kind of took off pretty fast, right? So like you do the first demo in '94 and then you're signed to Columbia in '95. Does that sound about right?
That's about right. Yeah, we started our first gig in the fall of '93. Dave and I were playing out as a duo, and we had one amplifier. And I had traveled from Boston in my Volkswagen van, and I did not have room to put my bass speaker cabinet in the van. So I took the speaker out of the cabinet and just traveled with the raw speaker. And so when we got home, I had an extra guitar case somehow, and I cut a hole in the big part of the case and put the speaker in it. So we had an amp, and then which was just the guts of an old acoustic amp. Again, I didn't have room for the case that the guts were in, so I just took all the guts out. So it was the guts of an Ampeg bass amp with 2 inputs, so we could both plug into a speaker cabinet, which was a guitar case. And we both played through the same amp. And again, we played as if we were headlining, the Megadome. And of course, it's like, there's like 10 people on a Tuesday at the off-ramp and nobody's paying attention. But so then in '93, December '93, Jason joined, and that was really when we became the band. And then in early winter late winter '94, I actually went off to do 2 tours with Beck as his sort of utility guy. And then we had made a demo, and the demo was selling at the bar where Jason worked. He was selling it over the counter, and it was selling out like crazy. We were repressing it, and I called Jason one day, and he was like, "You got to come home. We got to get back to work." And I had the situation with Beck had kind of run its course. He wanted the band, his first band, to be kind of like a Sonic Youth Junior kind of thing, and I was way more into entertainment and crowd involvement, and we just, of course, then later I see him on the Odelay tour, and it's like,
I was just gonna say,
what the hell? But that's cool. He evolved. He got what he'd never been in charge of a band before. It was totally disorienting for him. So he got his bearings. But so anyway, then we got back, and then I think later that spring we did a show. The Presidents did a show where there was tons of buzz and major label people. I didn't know they were there, but they were there. And literally the next day we had like 7 major label offers, and we had to put on our big boy pants and start being adults.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah. Like you guys were a part of what is easily, and I know everybody has reverence for what they listen to at a certain age group, but like I literally think that the '90s are on par with the '70s with the kind of opportunity for just different sounds to come out and for labels to spend time on them as well. Like, and I have this whole red string board that I go off on every once in a while about the Telecommunications Act of 1996 and how it ruined society. But it's all about it's all about the consolidation of media and the elimination of local markets. Anyway. But
no, that's very interesting. Just side note, I just watched a great documentary about WBCN in Boston, and I'm reading a book about Warner Brothers Records and how nourishing that environment was, or patient they were with their artists, and WBCN and how revolutionary they were with like connecting musicians with their audience. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah. So you're in it once that album comes out and kind of hits MTV. Um, uh, like, how did it get on the MTV radar? Was that a label push or was that?
Oh yeah, totally. The seven labels quickly became two, and they were Columbia, a subsidiary of Sony. Home to Bob Dylan, some guy named Bob Dylan. I don't know who he is, but and Columbia is just a storied label, and then Maverick, which was Madonna's label, which was a smaller kind of scrappy, semi-independent kind of thing, or wanted to have the appearance of, being a little independent boutique kind of thing. It's a long story that we went through with the whole decision-making process, but it really got down to the fact that we had to go to our hotel room at the Farmer's Daughter Hotel across from the farmer's market on Fairfax and decide between Madonna and Columbia. But in the meantime, we'd had a business meeting with Madonna, which was just crazy, amazing. That's 94. 10 years earlier, I was a freshman in college, and her music was in New York, and her music was all over every dorm room had Madonna coming out of it, and it just went on and on. There was a point where I thought, like, okay, this is just what the world is now. It's just radios with Madonna coming out of them, and that's all we get from now on. And then 10 years later, I'm sitting like nose to nose with her talking about, how she might market my band.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely incredible. The Like a Virgin was the very first album I bought with my own money.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow,
Tying
that's
it all
great.
together. Tying it
Yeah,
all together.
you're like a virgin. That's totally me.
That's
I am
yeah.
like a virgin.
It's
I'm
true.
not like a virgin. I am a
I
virgin.
am. I don't even know at that age if I knew what was
What it
even
was,
going on in
yeah.
that song. I
Like
just
what,
knew that
somebody-
Weird Al had the Like a Surgeon, and I liked the original.
Yeah.
Pivoting, and then Weird Al directs your music videos. Like how did that happen?
Yeah, well, no, before he directed videos, he parodied Lump and turned it
Oh,
into
okay,
Gummy.
yeah.
Not one of his, top tier hits, but he'll break it out live every once in a while, and it started a friendship that still exists to this day between he and I. And I love him. He's just a fantastic, awesome human being. So yeah, then eventually, fast forward to what was it, 2008? I think we put out "These Are the Good Times, People," and Al directed a video for a song called "Mixed Up SOB." And did a fantastically kooky, wacky job of it, just like you'd expect. But
Yeah.
and we've crashed each other's shows countless times, and every couple of years or so, or maybe every year, I go to LA just to visit friends, and we always hang out and eat a bunch of ice cream. Yeah, he's a great guy.
That's cool.
Yeah, but what an experience to be, again, like if I flash forward or flash backwards to, the early days of MTV and seeing Weird Al and just feeling like, oh, there's just no way, I'm sitting here on the couch with my buddy drinking beer, waiting for a Split Ends video to come on because everything else sucks. And here comes Weird Al. I'm like, well, I can admire the artistry for sure. And he represents just like this, distant goal, level of recognizability and talent. And then lo and behold, flash forward, and he's playing me.
It's,
That's so weird.
so surreal. It's
Yeah.
so surreal. So you guys then move into two, and then a little later down the line, Pure Frosting and whatnot. What was kind of the was it family, the decision to just kind of stop for a second, like just to pause and?
Oh, the desire to quit the band started the moment the ink dried on the contract we signed.
Really?
Yeah. I loved the early, we were talking about, like the Dorks trying to rock. That to me was like the end. That was the point. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to pull a Sex Pistols and just freeze us in our perfect state and then just move on and do something else. But the metaphor I always use is when you're riding a pony that's shitting gold bricks, you don't jump off. You hold on for dear life and put a bucket behind his butt and catch all the bricks. So, so I was like, I have a gut feeling that this is not going to go how I dreamed it would go, but I'm going to find out. So I got on the pony and wrote it. But, that feeling, that kind of gnawing feeling, like that messaging from my body was saying, this is not your final stop. Congratulations on what you've achieved, but you got to keep digging. There's something else you're meant for. So on the side, I started to try other things. I formed and broke up bands like crazy and partnered with other writers, and nothing was really working or clicking. And eventually, those side projects, the vibe got smaller and smaller and more acoustic and more innocent and more like kind of straightforward. But I still didn't know, who am I singing to? I always like to think as a songwriter, like the song I feel like is going out to help someone achieve a state. Either that state is like ecstatic dancing or sleeping or, having sex or jumping out of an airplane or running 1,000 miles an hour. And so I was thinking, like, what am I making this music for? Who is it? And then I met my second wife, Kate, and her artwork just spoke to me. It was like all the ways I could describe her art were ways I wanted to describe this mysterious music that I was trying to make. And it turned out that it was kids' music, because her art's very whimsical and childlike, but also very beautifully constructed, a lot of integrity, subtle colors. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. It's kids' music. If I had discovered that in 1995, I would have moved on it immediately and just like said bye-bye to the band. The whole rock and roll, like loud, I did my part. I partied and, I was an alcoholic for a while, and, but I knew where it was going. I mean, Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses was, a friend, of Dave's, and later a friend to the band. And, his pancreas exploded. So I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a lot easier to say yes to playing in a library for 25 children than continuing to feel kind of beat up by the lifestyle of playing for 25,000.
Yeah. I think I kind of remember the first time I had heard about the Caspar Babypants stuff. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It was just one of those, like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why it wouldn't make sense.
Well, the way I used to describe it is like, imagine if the president's is a planet, and there's the core is innocence. It's just pure innocence. And then the outer crust is the friction between innocence and irony and sexuality and like sort of like almost adulthood crust and a childhood core. And all I did was remove the crust and amplify the core. So it was always there. It just was it was sort of in service to the friction between innocence and irony. So or innocence and innuendo. That's it.
You were incredibly prolific putting that stuff out, and it kind of continued on into your solo stuff. How much of the Caspar stuff kind of influenced the way that you approach songwriting now?
Well, it definitely cemented my sort of realization that was creeping in for years, which is that I'm really not supposed to be in a band. The collaboration part of making music in a band I don't like it. I don't like it at all. For me, the analogy I always use is like, if you were walking by a sculptor's studio and you liked the sculpture, would you go in and be like, hey, can I sculpt on it too?
Right.
Or if you're walking by a painter's studio and be like, oh, your half-finished painting is great, let me get a brush and work on it. Like, no. I enjoy pushing and pulling and experimenting and massaging a song into this like moment where I go, that's it. There's all the balances. And, a lot of times it has to do with getting rid of things. Nancy Wilson from Heart, she talks about this theory called the mute party, which is where you allow yourself to be as sloppy and crazy and self-indulgent as you want to be at the beginning. Like, let's put horns on, let's put this on, another guitar solo, blah, blah, blah. And then later you have a mute party and you're like, okay, what can we take out? And you may end up keeping 4 measures of that horn solo that went through the entire song, but those are the key 4 moments that you wouldn't have gotten if you hadn't been loose. But the point is to kind of fader down on all the extra garbage, and then there's the song. And it might mean that the primary instrument that you started with, guitar, is no longer actually the primary instrument. Now it's an electric piano, and you have to acknowledge that. Now, if I had to tell the guitar player, we've erased your guitar because it wasn't useful, that's a bummer, right? But if I have to tell I'm the guitar player, given enough time, I'm not, I generally, after I finish recording something, I'm so proud of it, like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then 6 months later, I can go, the lyrics are all wrong. A bass part needs to be redone, blah, blah, blah. But I don't hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of my theory. And that was born out of doing the Caspar thing and working alone. And although I did co-write occasionally in that, while doing the Caspar thing. I had a great co-write with Steve Turner from Mudhoney. We wrote a song called Too Dirty to Love together, which is super great. Yeah.
It's great.
So I had all the grungies. I had Chris Novoselic playing on a Nirvana cover. I had, I never got Kim Thayil to do anything, which is too bad because he was on our debut record. I got Stone Gossard played bongos on a song. I tried to get Eddie Vedder to bring his ukulele over, but he's a busy boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got a bunch of the grungies to play on the Caspar stuff. And it's funny. I know I'm going on about it.
No, I love it.
At the EMP, at one point, this is the Music Museum in Seattle, there was a huge mural of all the ways that all the bands are connected. So there were these little like bubbles with the band name and then these like tubes going out to... And Nirvana was at the middle of this whole thing, branching out. But right to the left of Nirvana was a little bit of tube, and then it said Caspar Babypants.
That's amazing.
I don't... I guess because of Chris playing on one of... but it's, there are other much stronger connections that are further away. But I was just like, why is that there?
That's great.
Silly.
Oh, wow. The I kind of blew past one thing that I meant to ask, and I completely forgot about it. The subset stuff. So you and Sir Mix-a-Lot.
There's another one where I was like pinching myself, like, what's happening?
Whatever happened to because you guys recorded stuff, right?
Yeah, we made a record. We didn't get the record over the finish line before the band disintegrated. So we have this sort of like in process, I don't know, like 84% finished record. And every few years, we get excited about a way to release it. So that project was so fun because, especially live, being a co-front man, really Mix was the front man, but we kind of shared the duty a little bit. And we did a little West Coast tour and played a bunch of Seattle shows, and those were some wild... Oh, man, I can't even go into it. All I'm going to say is on one of those tours up and down the West Coast, the one we did, I got kidnapped and I could have died.
Jesus Christ.
It was crazy. I'm not going to go into details, but just I have been kidnapped before. Let's put it that way. So we just got along great. Originally there was a record label that was going to do a album of Jimi Hendrix covers by unlikely pairings of Seattle bands. So get 2 bands together to do a cover. And Mix invited us out to have dinner and talk about what we wanted to do in this project. And it became, almost immediately clear that we had more in common than we thought. And we're like, forget the Jimi Hendrix cover, let's make our own music. And so we went and made a few instrumentals and gave them to him. He wrote raps for them, and they were amazing. And so we just pursued it, and eventually did go on tour, like I said. But there, I think that band was crushed under the weight of its own expectations. We thought, this is going to be huge, whatever. We had that this is going to be huge disease.
Yeah.
And it just got us out of the moment. I think aesthetically, Mix and I were on the same page with where we wanted to push the music into synthesizers and let the recording studio be a tool. Dave and Jason were more interested in the organic sound of the band, like the drum kit and the electric guitar and, like people in a room making music. So, and I was into that. I was into both. So that was kind of a contributing factor. And then just different cultures with money, and Dave and Mix's manager had some friction, and enough things piled up that it just disintegrated.
Yeah.
And, but never say never. I mean, I think you can find all the songs online here and there, YouTube videos and whatever. But I think what we should do is just put it out on Spotify with very little fanfare. Just if you're interested, here it is.
Yeah. But, I have a pitch.
Okay. Pitch away.
Record store day vinyl.
There you go. It would be great vinyl because it's not a super long record. I think it's like 38 minutes or 40 minutes or something, so it'd be perfect for vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, next time I run into Mix, it'll be the same conversation. We gotta get that. We just gotta do it. We gotta do it. So I'll say vinyl.
Vinyl.
Let's
Record
do
store
vinyl.
day. Make it happen.
We're done.
So with the solo stuff, you've now taken to releasing 2 albums a year. It's like one every 6 months. What is the process of writing that? Like what? Because you can't really have a back catalog at that point because you're putting it all out, right? Like.
Well, no, that's the thing. I can't stop when I find a purpose and a palette, I can't stop. It's like a volcano, and I got to ride it until the volcano is empty. And like every project, like Presidents or Mixel or Subset, the Chris and Tad show, all this stuff that I've done, the Feelings, Hijackers, so many bands, they all have an arc, right? And you got to kind of naturally let the arc do its thing. And once I find a purpose and a palette, the arc can be, like with Caspar, it was 19 records that each had like 20 songs on them. I did like 1,300 shows, so that arc was long and really intense. And this one's kind of come up out of that, and I'm kind of starting to think I'm on the downslide with the solo thing, but I have 65 songs unreleased that are
Jesus Christ.
in most cases really close to being done. So the way I work is I'm just always working on all the songs. I've got a spreadsheet with all the songs in it, and then every so often I'm watching a movie or whatever, I'll slap on my headphones, just pick a random song in that batch of 65, play it, and be like, okay, yeah, like that bass needs to come down or whatever, like little notes, and I make the notes. I don't necessarily go do it right away, but then when I get in the studio, I open up that spreadsheet and go like, all right, what do I want to tinker with? Oh, this song needs all new lyrics. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
Again, these are criticisms that would hurt feelings if I weren't alone. So, it's just constantly massaging this giant well of songs. And then when it's album time, I have 4 I call them co-producers. They're really just feedback people, but I like to make them feel important. So I got 4 people that I run the songs by for a grade, gold plus to all the way down to like bronze minus. And so I kind of look at and that's in the spreadsheet too. So I sort of look for all the songs that are all A's or maybe A's and, like golds and silvers. And I start looking for a theme, or maybe how they connect, or also sometimes I just put it together like a sequence, like, all right, I want it to start with this song. And then this song's a nice anecdote to the distortion in that song. And then here's a piano song for the first time. So sequencing for me is like a huge deal. And it takes, weeks and weeks of tinkering and moving songs in and out and making sonic corrections so that it's, ready for the prime time, and that hi-hat is not too like shooting your head off and all that stuff. So anyway, it's this long kind of massaging process. And as long as I keep thinking I'm going to stop writing songs, and I did actually, I've stopped for like 2.5 months or so just recently. Every once in a while I feel like it's good to like let the fields go fallow and kind of let the soil get rich again, and then now I'm back, and I'm just like songs are bubbling up and coming out, and plus I'm wading back in time into the shit I made as not only as a kid but in Boston and New York and early days in Seattle, and just like tons of little like voice memos, and it's never ending. I think I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 fragments that I can just dip my ladle into and try to find something to loop and spark ideas. So yeah, that's kind of it. It's really about skimming the cream off the top of the butter churn.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
and like for the listeners, if they haven't gone through any of this, like it's all solid too. Like there's no fluff. It's not like you're just releasing because you're like it's like 6 months, got to get something out. Like it's all
Nope.
solid material.
Well, thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
I really do not. I feel like it's a crime against nature to release mediocre shit. And that's where the co-producers and the grades they give come in. Like that just sort of gives me a little sample. With the Caspar stuff, I did for the first 4 records, I had 40 families that I would send batches of songs to, and they would say, I just loose like, I like it, I don't like it, or I didn't notice it, or something, or it's working. It's working for the family. It's helping elevate the mood. I was kind of like, which songs are engaging the family.
Yeah.
And for 4 records, I did that and took all that feedback and sort of learned what works and what doesn't work, so I could just work intuitively rather than bothering these 40 families with a new batch of songs every month. But anyway, I do a much smaller version of that with the new stuff with these 4 helpers, and they just sort of give me an indication because they're very different people. Like, so any time they all give me an A, I'm like, okay, that's solid.
Yeah.
So, and then other editorial stuff I do is just constantly to bring the song up to a standard where I'm not going to waste someone's time or be self-indulgent,
Yeah. Do you tour this stuff at all, or?
No, I fantasize about it, and sometimes when I'm recording them, I purposely make decisions that would work in a European festival setting with 50,000 people. Like, this is the part where everybody would sing along or whatever. But then the practicality of assembling people and rehearsing and playing live and getting it up and running and getting financially organized, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Totally get it.
Yeah, it's and also I've sort of not in all cases, but there's enough aesthetics on these new records, these solo records, that are about an interior experience. Like what I really imagine people will do, and what I do when I listen to them, is I put on my beautiful what are they? They're I can't remember the brand name now. What are they? Audio Technica? No, I can't remember. Jeez, whatever. Okay, you can cut that out. I put on my headphones and AKG, that's it. I put on my headphones and that's how I experience. I mean, in fact, I mix the albums these days on headphones. So yeah, anyway, that's another reason why I think, well, I'm really kind of making this for an interior experience for a solo human.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, like I listen to it with headphones riding my bike, and it's like the perfect like meditative kind of just me, music, and a road. I dig it.
Yeah,
Like it absolutely soars in that. The new one coming out is Newborn Human, which
right.
I just made a newborn human, so like it felt like it felt like kismet that we have this conversation at this point.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a Caspar Babypants theme integrating into a Chris Ballew record, actually.
That's wild. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Well, I've heard it because this is going to air after it comes out. But so
Of course, you've heard it.
I've heard it, and it's
You love every
fantastic.
song.
That's amazing.
That third song? Oh my God. You know what though? You know what? Actually, the truth is, I don't remember the album because I do an exercise too, where when I give it to my distributor, I stop listening to it and it's 3 months of waiting so I give it to the distributor 3 months ahead of release. And so I do not remember the record at all. And then the day of release, or maybe day after, I strap on headphones and make some space and listen to my own album for the first time.
That's
And
amazing.
It's delicious.
I was going to say, with this many songs between your entire career, is there ever a song that comes on and you're just like, oh, I didn't remember that. I don't remember any of that.
Actually, there's a Caspar Babypants song that my daughter wrote called "I Don't Remember This Song,"
Oh.
and it's like, I don't remember this song. It's so good, and I have a recording of her singing it when she was a little kid, and that's one of the scraps I found, is like her singing "I don't remember this song" as like a 6-year-old. And so I took it and I made it into a real song that would be on a Caspar record. And she was over one day and I played it for her, and I was like, do you remember this song about not remembering the song? And she's like, no, I don't remember this song.
It's killer.
She didn't remember the song about not remembering the song.
She manifested it.
Oh my God. We fell out laughing. It was so good.
That's amazing.
I know. So yeah. Although I will also say one other little anecdote. Lump was born out of a fragment that was on a microcassette recorder that I was listening to while I was cleaning my room in 1992. And all sorts of ideas were popping through, and I was, distractedly listening. And my voice came on saying, and usually when I hear these fragments, I'm like, oh, I remember that was in the kitchen of that house in Boston or whatever. It's like got context. But the fragment that became Lump came on of me singing the chorus, and I have no memory of making it.
Wow.
So Lump is a song that was made out of something I have no memory of starting.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So these are all available on streaming, on Bandcamp. Is there any the physical?
Yes, actually, I have. Every 4 records, I'm taking the singles in most cases, some a little bit of editorial, but mostly the singles, and making a vinyl compilation out of those singles. So Volume 1 came out a few years ago, but it was on a label called Bandbox, and they went bankrupt. And so all the orders of the first volume, called Volume 1, were screwed up, and I'm still working on getting those fixed. So then there's Volume 2, which I just put out like a month ago, and that should be in your local record shop. I've got a distributor who's professional in Portland, and they distributed it. So Volume 2 should be wherever you get your vinyl. You should be able to get it.
Heck yeah.
And then I'm reissuing Volume 1 on my own, and that's coming up in the next month or two. It's in production right now. And then going forward, there'll be a Volume 3 and a Volume 4, assuming I get to album number, what would that be, 16? Yeah, 16. So I'm at album 11 now. Yeah, I got 5 more albums in me.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. For sure. I don't doubt it. Like, I mean, there's no signs of slowing down in any of this.
It's funny. I kind of realized when we got signed to the major label, the pressure was to follow up our release with something equally amazing, right? And as the songwriter, I felt that pressure, and I felt like I didn't have a well of material that I hadn't made a buffer zone of quality material that I could use for the second record. And that kind of scared me. It made me kind of tense up and be like, oh my God, everyone's going to be looking at me. I don't have the material that it takes. So I was realizing about a year ago, I was like, I think that's why I'm obsessively writing songs and filling in my cauldron of future solo stuff, because I'm fighting against this old sort of fear that I'll be asked to do something that I can't deliver. I know it is. It's like psychologically, I'm like, it's like I'm a prepper.
Yeah, the musical prepper.
I'm a song prepper.
I love it. And it's wild too to me because like Mach 5 is like my favorite song that you guys did back then. So like and that was post that first album. So it must have worked out.
Dude, I'll tell you what, my favorite video of ours is Mach 5. That video is the greatest. And one of the little details that I love is at the very beginning, there's a guy with a beard like tapping on a mic doing karaoke of Mach 5. that's Conrad, who we made our first record with in his basement. And we were acknowledging that like we were like in a big studio and we're on a major label now. We were on his label. And so we flew him to LA and filmed that little bit where he's like on karaoke. Anyway, that and many other things. And the cop at the end who comes in is like, he was not scripted to do that. He just did that off the top of his head. Which is so great.
Oh, it's
just like, I want to be in the video too.
Absolute best. At this time, you want to go through my questionnaire? This is the Jauntlet.
Oh yeah,
These are
and
the
I did not peek at it. So
okay, good.
I like being more like in the now.
All right. It starts with the one-hit wonders, and this is a one-hit wonder and segment name only, but you're just picking a favorite between the two. So the first one, Billy Joel or Elton John?
Ooh. Wait, no, wait. Why are they one-hit wonders? They had
no. It's just the segment title. It's not that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay, oh my God, that's a tough one, man. That's tough. I grew up, my brother played Billy Joel endlessly, and I was pounding on his wall like, shut up. I'm going to go Elton John.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Next one is Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
Oh, Joan Jett.
Yeah.
1,000 times. I've hung out with Joan Jett. That's
That's
another moment where I was pinching myself, like, what is happening? You were just on the TV. What are you doing coming to our show with your manager, Kenny Laguna, who answers questions for you? It's so weird. We're like, Joan, how's it going? And Kenny's like, Johnny's doing great. You know, so
awesome.
Weird. Very old school. Anyway, yes, getting to meet and hang out with Joan Jett on multiple occasions. So got to pick her.
Yeah, from the area too. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Next one, Aretha Franklin or Tina Turner?
Ooh, Aretha. Absolutely. Yeah.
Makes sense. Being a Seattle guy, this one might hit home. Pearl Jam or Nirvana?
Nirvana. Absolutely. Yeah. I was living in Boston when Nevermind came out, and I was blown away because I was playing a 4-string acoustic guitar with a pickup and distortion, and I was writing these like sort of swampy, heavy songs, but melodic. And then that album, I wasn't aware of Bleach or aware of them, just Nevermind. When that album came out, I was like, well, I'm just going to listen to this. I don't need to I don't need to make the record I'm trying to make. This is it. And I'll just enjoy this instead. So
I had a film version of that where I wrote this story about these two people, complete strangers who meet and spend a day together, and then I saw Before Sunset, and I was like, no, that's all right, that's good. I don't have to make mine. That's fine. We're good.
Yeah. Is that Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
Yes. Who's
Ethan
the girl?
Hawke and Julie Delpy.
Okay, Julie Delpy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
I'm gonna go Stevie Nicks. Janis is beautifully powerful and everything, but I feel like I like the sort of hot chocolate swampy quality of Stevie Nicks' voice. It's more relaxing.
Definitely.
I've had enough shouting in my day.
The big cliche, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to it, Beatles or the Stones?
It's a little tough, actually, because I have come to really, really, really dig the Stones. I listened to Let It Bleed and Exile on Main Street over and over and over when my kids were little, and I was in charge of them in the morning so my wife could sleep in. I'd put one or both of them in the car, and we just listened, and we'd drive around, because I wanted them to be quiet in the house. This is especially when we were we had a little beach house on an island, and it was just wide open, and I couldn't get my daughter to shut up. So I would put her in the car, and we listened to the Stones just for weeks and years. But it's the Beatles.
Yeah, I thought so. No, I'm similarly, like late in life, like I've always liked the Stones, but like I never really did an album dive until I was like later in life, and then I was like, oh, this is no joke. Like I get it now. Like
yeah, Exile on Main Street is just such a wonderful, like sloppy, joyous. But when you know how it was made in the like hot basement of the French Riviera, it's just like cables and stink and smoke, and it's just like Anyway, yeah, I respect that record a lot. That record for them, I feel like, is like McCartney's first solo record, like this kind of honest,
Yeah.
you know, unflinching, honest sort of, we are messy and we are great.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. The last one of the one-hit wonders, Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Holy crap, you're really hurting me. I brought both in seventh grade. There was this record player in the lounge area. Like the middle school had sort of a loungy area in between the classrooms, and there was a record player. And during free time, people would play records they brought in. I brought in Bohemian Rhapsody and played it. And when you played your song on the record player, it was sort of like everyone's looking at you like, "Who are you? What is your song? You know, how are you represented by your choice?" And I got so many weird looks and people being like, "Really? Like what?" People didn't get it, and I was just like, "Can't you hear the majesty?" And like, but Stairway to Heaven. I mean, oh, I'm gonna have to go Bohemian Rhapsody
Okay. Yeah.
because it defined me in seventh grade.
Oh, it's great. That's great. It's a good one. The next section is the top 10 countdown. In this, like I said in the email, we use Jawn in Philadelphia to mean anything you want it to be. It can be person, place, thing, idea, anything. So
Okay.
the number one, what was your first, Jawn? What was the first thing you were obsessed with when you were a kid?
That would be those goddamn Beatles.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to ride that train all the way to the end of the track every day. The beat of that Sgt. Pepper's was my John. Especially, believe it or not, I'm going to say the song Within You, Without You was my John because it pushed me as a little kid to have the patience to listen to something so, at the time, weird and atmospheric and spooky. So that song, Within You and Without You, Within You, Without You was my John.
I love it. I love it. Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
Current John, I'm into this band that my son is kind of in. It's called Hot Damn Scandal.
Hey,
And I've
I
been
like
listening
that
to them,
name.
and they're like sort of like if Tom Waits were 14 years old. No, I was trying to come up with a way to talk about it. It's kind of like if Tom Waits in the late stage Tom Waits, if he remembered how to write songs, it'd be Hot Damn
Wow.
Scandal.
I like it. Consider my interest peaked.
Okay, and Augie, my son, is the guitar soloist on the record, and he is just nailing it. So that's my current John.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Number three, what was the first concert you went to? First live show?
Dude, the Rolling Stones.
Oh, hell yeah. That's amazing.
1981. I can't remember the name of the tour, but oh my God, I was in the sort of nosebleed seats, but I just went down and got all the way through the audience. I got like maybe, I don't know, 30 feet from the stage and 30 feet from Mick Jagger. And I swear to God, he pointed at me at one point, just like, yeah, da, 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 and all this. And I was like, yeah. But it was one of those experiences at a live show where it was so packed that every so often my feet would just leave the ground and I would be moved around.
Yeah.
I just don't really experience that anymore, or I don't anyway.
No.
It's more personal space is more valuable now, but back then it was just like sweaty, just smashing.
Yeah, I remember like rushing the stage to so many shows, and like I just feel like nobody rushes anymore. Everybody's just like, no, I have seats, and I paid $200 for them, so I'm not going to leave them.
Right. I saw Paul McCartney for the first time in '95, and there was no way there was no option of rushing that scene. I did do it when I saw Kiss for the first time in 1996.
Nice.
I had weird seats up on the side, and I just ran down. Oh my God. I ran down right before they played. I can't remember what the song was, but it was, Gene is spilling blood out of his mouth, and there's pyrotechnics that are so hot, like my face is burning. I was just like, what's happening? I had stared at the back of Kiss Alive 2 for my entire childhood. And so I had to go right up front,
Yeah, for sure. Number four, what was the last concert you went to?
That would be a band called Drink the Sea, which features my good friend Barrett Martin, who was in the Screaming Trees, and my other good friend Peter Buck, who's in REM, a little band called REM, and Alan Johannes, who's part of the desert rock scene, and Barrett's wife Lisette on Professor Lisette Garcia on vibraphones and a rotating bass player spot. Anyway, Drink the Sea. And lead singer, his name is escaping me at the moment. But Drink the Sea. They're doing really well. Barrett and Peter have made something like 40 records together in various guises. And so the last one I went to see was those guys at a little tiny theater here in Seattle.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Number 5, what's your favorite concert? Best show you ever saw?
Oh my God, that is going to be Jose Gonzalez at the Moore Theater in Seattle with the String Theory. String Theory is like a avant-garde sort of percussion and classical cellos and violins kind of ensemble. And they helped Jose Gonzalez interpret his songs and expand them. And Jose Gonzalez live is the most insanely great sound. It's just him generally with an acoustic guitar these days. He was in a band called Junip. If you watched Breaking Bad, their song, one of their songs is the second to last song when the guns are going off. And I don't want to spoil it, but anyway. Just by way of cultural reference, if nobody knows who Jose Gonzalez is. But his sound is so amazing, and I finally got to meet him after seeing him half a dozen times in all different settings and setups and ask him, how do you do it? And he sent me a PDF of how to modify the guitar. He also travels with the guy that does his records, and they run everything through tape compression live.
Holy crap.
Seeing him live is like you're inside the guitar, and you know how problematic acoustics can be in live settings. So
yeah,
I cannot stress enough that people should listen to Junip and Jose Gonzalez with the String Theory, and just his solo records. He just came out with a new solo record, and we're sort of acquaintances. So you're welcome, Jose. Here's the plug.
I love it. Can't wait to check it out. Number 6, who have you never seen live that you wish you could have? They can be living or dead.
God, living or dead. I'd have to say like really early dance hall Beatles, just as they were breaking in the UK,
Yeah.
Or maybe even go back to Germany and see one of those like amphetamine
Cavern ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Not the Cavern. That was Liverpool. I'm talking go back to the Star Club.
Oh, yeah.
Hamburg, and see one of those like where John's got a toilet seat around his neck and they're just like stoned out of their minds and just playing for 8 hours.
I had Eric Bazillion from the Hooters on this show, and his answer to first concert was the Beatles, and I was like, well, then what do you do after that? Just you did it.
Wait, you're saying he saw the Beatles?
Yeah, that was his first live show.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, just give up.
Yeah, it's over. I guess never have to see another show.
It is kind of phenomenal when you see footage of them that survives from the early days. They had no monitors.
No. And with all the screaming going on and all, I don't know how it was even possible.
Yeah, they were completely unable to hear each other. Ringo is famous for saying, he just had to follow their body language to know where they were in the song. Because the amps were closed back amps, I think. They didn't have an open back like a Fender, so it would be pointing, sound at him, so... Anyway, it's kind of a boring answer, but I think that's it. The only other one I can think of would be the Sex Pistols at the Cow Palace, the American tour before they disintegrated.
Yeah,
I would love that.
That's awesome.
Maybe if I could get the Sex Pistols and the Beatles on the same bill, that'd be nice.
Be great. Well, they need a bassist. Maybe Paul could just sit in.
Yeah. Hey, we could start a band called the Sex Beatles, and we could just do Beatles songs as the
Sex Pistols. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm in it.
Please me. Oh, yeah. I got to please you.
That kind of works, actually.
Kind of does. Yeah, I'm in it. Number 7.
You could do all the songs that are kind of misogynistic, you better run for your life if you can, little girl. Could work. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn, something you wish people paid more attention to.
Empathy.
Great answer.
I mean,
Absolute great answer.
just that would be great. I think more people are. I have trained my Instagram algorithm to feed me beautiful stuff, hopeful stuff, good news, creative people, and people talking about the empathy revolution. And so that's my John.
I love it. That is a good one. Number 8, what's your favorite album?
My last album.
There it is. I like it.
Really, I mean, I I think of myself as a hobbyist at this point. Like I'm not trying to take over the world. I'm not putting pressure on what I'm doing. So I'm really just making these records because I want to hear them. I want to have that experience after 3 months of not hearing them, of sitting down and listening to them. So they're my favorite because every note is placed there by me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I talk
Yeah.
to I talk to other people sometimes about that, and a lot of people say they can't listen to their albums, and filmmakers almost unanimously do not watch their films, and I think that's just too bad.
I don't get it myself because like my music I used to make the songs I wanted to hear, so like that's what I'm gonna listen to. And then like with this podcast, I mean kind of similarly on a much smaller scale, but I when I started this I was like, oh, I could make money doing this and this could be a thing. And I think the show suffered for it. Whereas now I'm just happy to have cool conversations with people. And if anybody wants to listen to it, awesome. I appreciate it. But like, yeah, this is, and it's been a better show because of that.
I liken it. Yeah, that's great. And I think the analogy that I use to keep my mind right with that stuff is that it's a little phrase I say, nobody cares. I'm just making chairs. Meaning like, I'm sort of like a guy who has a 9 to 5. I go into my woodworking shop on the weekends and I make beautiful chairs. Nobody's ordering these chairs. I'm just doing it to be a chair maker. Like the monks that make the sand mandalas and then sweep them away.
Yeah.
If you embody that, people want to be near that. So, yeah, that's cool, man. I dig it.
The number 9, name an artist whose output you'll consume anything they release.
God, anything they release. I'm gonna have to repeat myself and say Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I mean, I will. I have every album he's made, and he could make one a week, and I'd be right there. So yeah, I'm doubling up. I know, but
No, that's fine.
That's the answer.
I love it. The 10th and final of the top 10 countdown. What is your favorite Jawn of all time? Can be anything you want it to be.
Root beer floats.
Yeah?
Right now, my wife and I are doing a technique where we buy a big quart of ice cream and we make a little divot in the top and we pour a little root beer in there and then we eat that. And then we're just like tunneling down. We're not going to the edges. We're just going down in the center. We just keep pouring root beer in there and just keep pulling up that beautiful crystally root beer affected ice cream. And we just every day we have lunch together and we watch Wheel of Fortune and we work on our root beer mining project. So that is my John, watching Wheel of Fortune, eating lunch with my wife, and then working on our root beer float project.
Absolutely beautiful. The album is Newborn Human, and it came out on the 17th, which is in the past, like I said, because this is releasing in the future. And available on all streaming services as well as your Bandcamp. Your Bandcamp is chrisballew.bandcamp.com. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. Yeah.
Sounds right.
Just Google Chris Ballew Bandcamp. You'll find it. Yeah, Bandcamp is a righteous platform.
I'm a big fan.
It does cross my mind to sort of like get off everything and just focus there. But I immediately after saying that, I realized there's a bunch of work to do that. And I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get it. No, I like
I was just going to say, make Bandcamp your first stop, everybody, because I love that.
If somebody has a Bandcamp, that's what I was just going to say. I always try to share that first because, I even think like people who just put up things for donation, make better than through the streams and stuff like that. And
oh yeah, that's what I do. I total donation. I don't need the financial help, so I don't want to charge anything. But sometimes people want to, to have the circuit. Made, they want to pay something. So I appreciate that and respect that. So that's cool.
It's awesome. And the website is chrisballew. Is it com or is it net?
It's org.
Org. I knew it. I knew it wasn't com, and I was trying to think.
Yeah. I don't even know what does org stand. What did org come from?
I only did it because
Chris. Oh, organization. And I am very organized, so I like that.
There you go.
Yeah, chrisballew.org is the place to go for everything, including there are pages on there that are full of unreleased stuff and ambient music I've made. This music called Sampledelic. There's Chris and Tad. There's early recordings with the Dukes of Pop. There's the Feelings Hijackers. So all this stuff that was just gathering dust on a hard drive, I decided to put up. And you can download it. You can own it and have it, or just listen to it from the website. So if you're feeling like a nowhere else Chris Ballew library dusty deep dive, you can come on over to chrisballew.org.
That just reminded me of one other thing I wanted to ask you based on the website is you also have artwork up there. The stuff from 2022, are there prints available of that anywhere? Because I like all that.
I did prints for a long time, and it was kind of involved. It's like I have a whole station for framing them and or just doing the prints and having them in bags and having the mailers. And I currently I'm not doing them. I can kind of feel that there's a future where I'm going to get back into art. The art thing kind of comes and goes. It's funny. It's like I'm real hot with it, and then like for years I have no ideas, and then it comes up again. So next time it comes up, I might pull that trigger. But for right now, they're just for enjoying there and on my album covers.
Yes.
So if you buy vinyl, you'll get 4 little guys on the vinyl, each one from the 4 records that the compilation represents, and you can frame that. Because there's no words on it. It's just a piece of art.
I love it. I love it. Chris, thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, I've been a big fan for a very, very long time, and it's been an absolute blast talking.
Man, I really appreciate you taking time. This has been a great conversation, and you're an awesome interviewer.
Oh,
and,
thanks.
I really appreciate the thoughtfulness in your questions. Thanks a lot, man.
My many thanks again to Chris for joining me on the show today. His brand new album, Newborn Human, is out now and is available for download on his website at chrisballew.org. Or you can find it on his Bandcamp page at chrisballew.bandcamp.com. It is, of course, streaming on the DSP of your choice if you're into that as well. Links to all of those are, of course, as always, in the show notes. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the Yo That's My Jawn podcast wherever you get your podcast from. And guys, it is never too late to get yourself a super awesome Jawn Scout Merit Badge for citizenship of the world just by rating and reviewing us. Don't forget to visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com for the link tree with links to articles, merchandise, all of the previous episodes of this podcast, guest appearances on other podcasts, and more. And while you are there, please be sure to sign up for our mailing list to get all of the updates delivered straight into your inbox. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YoThat'sMyJawn for updates and live streams. Follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, Substack at Yo That's My Jawn, and search Yo That's My Jawn on YouTube to find the Yo That's My Jawn YouTube channel. Like and subscribe the heck out of that ish. We want to hear from you. Reach out and touch some Jawn. Man, I just talked to the dude who wrote Lump. I am blessed. Truly, truly blessed. Blue skies. Until next time, everybody.
That's my Jawn!
Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production, written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by me under the moniker Nate 3.0 and featuring Sarah Tudzin from Illuminati Hotties. Kinda. Special thanks to James Ferris, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Maggie Poulos, Dan Drago, Philip Reese, Natalie Runkle, the beautifully vibrant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney, and my firstborn, heir to the Yo That's My Jawn empire, Henry Davis Daubney Runkle. If you or anyone has any ideas that you would like to share or any guests you would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com or hit us up on the socials at yothat'smyjawn. Until next time, please be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Tilt your head back and shout to the world, Yo, that's my Jawn.